Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews, and today talk about a film that I think I talked about before in the past. I believe so, and it is The Strangers, the uncut version. And in the past, I had a little bit more respect for this movie. It's dimmed a little bit, not too much, but I still really enjoy the movie. It's just, I got a few problems with it, not too many, but I think overall it's a solid movie. It's a solid, scary movie. Definitely creepy at times. Good things is that they nailed the atmosphere. Suspense is well done. The look of the killers was pretty cool, and the acting wasn't that bad. I thought Scott Speedman and Liv Taylor did a good job, and the people that played the killers did a good job. And overall, the acting was not a problem with the movie. The problems are the pace. It's 86 minutes, but it kind of doesn't. The pace doesn't really match the minute mark. It just sort of it drags a little bit. It's 86 minutes. I know it should be short. It kind of isn't. Sometimes it gets a little bit draggish, and maybe it's because the suspense is good, but sometimes they try to build it up so long that it becomes to the point where it's like, okay, this is kind of getting a little bit boring. We get it. It's going to be scary, but do you really have to build it up this long? Like, it'll carry on for like 20 minutes building up the suspense, which I get it. It makes for a much more impactful scare, but when you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm scared, but come on, man, I've been scared for like 20 minutes now. I've been waiting for something, and it kind of seemed like that. They're trying to build up suspense, but it was taking them a long time to actually scare you. And the pace in general was just kind of sluggish. And I would have appreciated if the killers got to do a little bit more. I get it, it's not a body count movie. It's not meant to be a body count film. It's meant to be a suspenseful, sort of old school style horror film. And I get it, it's not supposed to have a body count and 20 people getting killed. No, it's supposed to have just these two people getting stalked by these strangers who just pop up out of nowhere, and they just start getting terrorized by these people. They don't know who they are. And I mean, I guess not supposed to be like a slasher film, but at the same time, the killers really didn't do much. Most of the time, they were outside. And I really would appreciate it if they would have done a little bit more stuff on the inside of if they would have been involved a little bit more, because they were a big part of the story. But for the most part, they were outside. And they looked creepy, but it was sort of like, sometimes they could have done a little bit more with the killers and stuff like that. But most of the time they're outside. But they do get into the house, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of scenes where they are in the house, and they are chasing people around. Kind of takes a while for it to happen, though. I mean, it kind of takes a while for them to get inside the house. And, that combined with the pace, combined with the suspense scenes that try to build up the suspense for like 20 minutes. I didn't really like that. Kind of got boring. And just overall, I could say that that's a problem. I mean, also the pace, and I really didn't care for the score. Didn't really think the music was that great. Besides those few things, besides the score, the pace, and the suspense scenes are a little bit extended to the point where it's starting to get a little bit boring. And the fact that the killers really get to do much was a little bit of a disappointment. Well, I mean, it was not really much of a big problem. It was just sort of a nitpick. But besides that, though, I mean, they really nailed the suspense in the movie when it did happen. When the suspense did happen, it was really good. Not all the scenes took forever to build up. Some of them really happened really fast. But others, it just sort of took a while for something to happen. And, like I said, the look of the killers is pretty cool. They're creepy. The way they look is, like I said, they're creepy. Dialogue is creepy that they have. They are crazy people. And these two characters, this girl right here, Liv Taylor and Scott Speedman, two likable characters. You really want them to live through this, and has definitely a shocking ending. Definitely nailed just the creepiness of the idea of sort of this couple who is staying in a vacation home. They get home from a wedding, and you find this girl. He asked her out. Well, not asked her out. He asked to marry him. Excuse me. He asked her to marry him, and she didn't say yes. And he's a little bit upset about it. They're both a little bit upset. Sort of been a long night, and all of a sudden these people pop up. You know, one of them has a freaking mask. Well, this guy right here has a weird mask on. Other ones have like porcelain sort of doll masks on, really creepy looking masks. And there's about 3 killers, I think. About 3 of them. 3 or 4, I think it was like, yeah, 3 or 4 or something like that. And pretty much they terrorize this couple in their house for the rest of the movie, and it's just what happens is some crazy events. And before I get into the rest of the plot, wanted to mention that I get the 6.2 on IMDb. Was released in 2008, and it was directed by Brian Bertino, or Bertino, who directed The Strangers, A Mockingbird from 2014, This Man, and There Are Monsters in 2016 as planned. Really hasn't directed a lot of movies. This is actually his first movie. And then Mockingbird was his second movie. And then There Are Monsters is his third movie. This Man was probably a movie that he was involved with. But, yeah, I mean, not really a lot to say. I mean, he did a good job directing. It was pretty well shot. The way that it looked. Location was pretty creepy. And just the idea alone of having a home invasion with these people are freaking creepy. It's a freaking creepy idea, and you know, it definitely creeps you out when you're watching it. Make sure that you're, you know, careful about the, you know, strangers and stuff like that. Just, it creeps you out, and it's based on, I believe, inspired by true events. It says right here, inspired by true events, which at the beginning of the movie it shows these 2 little boys on their bicycles. They ride up to this house, and they find what you soon to find out is this house in the movie with blood on the wall, shotgun on the ground, basically just blood and guts everywhere. And pretty much the strangers, they attack this couple until eventually there's this really shocking scene where the Scott Speedman character, his friend gets out of the car, goes in the house, and they think it's one of the strangers, and Scott Speedman grabs a shotgun and shoots him, and ends up finding out it's his friend, and they're all shocked about it. Basically, they get chased outside, they're trying to escape, and then it gets to the point where they get knocked out, and spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, you don't get to see the people's faces about who these people are. Yeah, it's 3 people. It's not 4, it's just 3 people. And you don't see who they are, and they got them tied to these chairs, and it's a really suspenseful, really scary scene where they're taking this knife and they're stabbing Scott Speedman's character, and he's slowly dying. They keep stabbing him and stabbing him. They take their masks off, we can't see their face. And they stab him until he dies. They stab the wife. They think that she's dead. They drive on the road. They get this like Bible brochure, this little Bible book, and they're like reading it, and they drive off. And that's when the boys come to the house and they see what happens. And you find that Liv Taylor is still alive, and it's Liv Taylor. I think that's how you pronounce Liv Taylor. But you find that she's still alive, and it's sort of a jump scare, and then end of the movie. Now, it's a fairly simple plot, really is. It's not really advanced anyway, but it still creeps me out. The idea of it creeps me out. And I think that if you're a fan of horror movies, definitely some classic ones, this is going to be a movie for you to watch, because it goes old school, though it taps into the suspense side. It's not really a slasher film, but there's a few deaths. There's like 2 deaths, I think, in the entire movie. But you go into it for the suspense, for the atmosphere, for just the general creepiness of the idea, and you will get creeped out, and I think it's a great movie. Well, I think it's a decent movie. So, yeah, definitely a decent film, and don't really have any problems with it. Well made, and yeah. So The Strangers. I know it's a quick review, but I really got nothing else to say about The Strangers other than it's a pretty decent flick. So guys, thanks for watching the review, and I'll see you guys on the next review. Bye guys.